Hi, Pookies. Sorry that we
Hey
missed a week.
Pookies, we're back. Sorry that we missed a week. I got sick.
You're
So it's
always
not
sick.
it's not Meli's fault like everyone was thinking. You know how you were thinking Meli's is just it's always Meli's fault. This time it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Sorry,
This time it was
guys.
mine. But that's okay because we have a great pod lined up for you today. If this is your first time, oh yeah, we're talking about the Rolling Stones. Gimme Shelter. I'm Yoav akiva,
I'm Melina Nazarian, and
and
today tonight we'll be providing you with shelter.
tonight we will be providing you with shelter, um, which is a pleasure to have
Yes, it's a
because
pleasure and a privilege.
not everyone gets shelter. So calm down, calm your roll. But before we're gonna leave you homeless for a few minutes when we talk about, what happened in the filmscape in these last 2 weeks that we missed. Um, a lot of things happened, but we're gonna leave some things for next week since we don't want the segment to be too long.
Yeah, we can't
Um,
cover
mm,
everything, unfortunately.
yeah. But Meli, would you like to begin?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna start with the first piece of news that caught my eye this week that I saw on Twitter. So I'm gonna pull it up real quick. So
Mhm.
we have a movie between Jenna Ortega, or not between, starring Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman, called Miller's Girl, and it is about a creative writing assignment prompt when a creative writing assignment prompts uncomfortable realities, a failed writer and his remarkable student realize they've blurred lines beyond the academic. And the only reason why I'm just bringing this up because I personally don't really care about age gap movies. Like I know a lot of people have really weird discourse behind it. And they think that, you make a
Right.
movie about an age gap, you automatically think that um predatory relationships are okay. No, no one ever said that. I just think it's going to be interesting how the world and how social media and Twitter perceive this movie. Apparently it's kind of rape revengey or whatever the fuck, which I don't really like that I don't particularly like that.
I don't either.
Um, but we'll see. I don't know. It's just something interesting, something weird. It's not gonna be good, but we'll see.
It's good you talked about it now, though, so that they know our opinion on it before. There's probably going to be some crazy discourse.
Yeah. I don't know.
They're
Whatever.
probably going to cancel Jenna Ortega.
Probably.
Just kidding. Our generation loves her.
Well, they kind of
She's great.
fucked her over when she was smoking a cigarette. They were like, Jenna
Yeah, that
Ortega.
was
Like,
insane.
I was like,
Shut the
calm
fuck
down.
up.
Let the
Like
girl live.
that is her life. Like chill out. Chill out.
They're just crazy.
Like
But
why do you care? Like in
thank
what
you.
world does that matter?
Thank you. Why do you care? Why does anyone care? Literally go to any other country but the United States of America and everyone is smoking. Every single person is fucking smoking.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Just all the celebs smoke cigarettes or other forms of whatever.
Yeah,
That's
so
just kind of how Hollywood has been since the invention of cigarettes.
she
So,
wants to be cool. Let her be cool for a little bit, and she'll realize
yeah,
what she's.
whatevs. Um, well, a lot of things happened in like A24 in the A24 scape in the last few weeks. Most the biggest thing is that A24 and Warner Brothers have made a deal in which all A24 films will stream exclusively on Max from next year or whatever.
Yeah, late as hell.
Um which is cool cuz you have all of that available to you as an HBO Max consumer, but
Yeah.
um they also, on top of that, made an announcement that they will be shifting to more IP and action films next year. And with that announced Alex Garland's new film director of
Mhm.
Annihilation, and this movie's called Civil War. And if you've seen the trailer, it just seems like a sci-fi action flick. So I mean, I know
Awful.
Alex Garland is kind of an auteur. He made Annihilation, which is kind of a very artistic sci-fi film, but the trailer gave me no indication that it's gonna be anything artistic. So my question to A24 is why?
Right?
Because like I understand that everything is money focused and that's okay, but you know, you have this big crowd going to your movies just because your name is on it, and just because they know they'll be handed something fresh and new and artistic and and director focused and all that. Why are you doing this?
It I will never cease to amaze me when companies shift away from what people want. The reason why people love A24 is because they make, and I'm using this term very, very lightly, but to the normal audiences, they make very artistically inclined movies and movies
Mhm.
that are just different and not of the norm, whatever. And that does good for them. People like that. Like, you
And
see
it
the way,
does good for the film industry.
yeah, it does. But now you're shifting in a direction that people don't want you to go. What's the
Yeah.
correlation?
Um, and they've made a lot of critically loved and popular movies. Last year they had the success that was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, I do not like how some of the population interacts with A24 because some people are like, "Oh, did you go see the A24 movie?" So it's like I don't like when people say like A24 is a genre, and
Yeah,
I'm happy that they can branch out and prove them otherwise. But and also I don't it disappoints me that we have all of these expectations for one studio to that be the only studio that's like putting out stuff that's not big IP and action movies.
real.
So they do have a lot of pressure on them. But if the pressure is on you, just keep what you've been doing and continue making money. There are other great artsy fartsy production companies such as Neon,
Neon is
Walker
so much
Street.
better.
Neon is better
Sorry, Neon's better.
because
They
they
produce better
are
movies.
they're consistently like their quality is amazing. They don't have their Dicks the musicals and their, you know,
I wanna
so
see that though.
I wanna see it, but again, it flopped at the box office, and, like, what A24 does with all those movies is they just put them I feel like every podcast tour, like, "New A24 movie, da, da, da," and
Yeah,
then some of those movies just disappear because when they don't get buzz and they don't get awards interest, A24 really hides them, so,
yeah.
I don't know. Such as Under the Silver Lake or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that movie.
What's your next note?
My next note, we got the Eileen trailer starring Anne Hathaway and
Is
mm,
that also A24?
I think so. No, no,
Or that's Neon.
Neon,
That's Neon.
Neon.
Yeah.
Um, Anne Hathaway, Thomasine McKenzie, I think is that her name? Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Thomason.
yeah, I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this movie. I really want to read the book before I watch the movie. We'll see if I get there. I don't think I will. Um, but yeah, erotic thriller, lesbianism, prison, working woman.
Prison.
Like she works at a prison, and then
Oh.
Thomasine Mackenzie's character works at a prison. Anne Hathaway's character comes to the prison. She gets hired as a psychologist or some shit, and they have some heated love affair. I cannot wait for this movie, guys. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
It seems really good, and and a lot of the Letterboxd reviews are like, "This one's for the girls. This one's for the girl." So I guess I won't be watching it.
Yeah, because Yoav's not a girl, guys.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It seems really cool.
Yeah.
I might be hopping to theaters to watch that one,
Yes, yes, yes.
and we'll report back, guys. Speaking of feminist filmmaking and someone who is starting to get on my nerves,
Uh-oh.
Emerald Fennell, director of
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Promising Young Woman, and now this film Saltburn that is in theaters, that I haven't seen yet, would like to make, and she's working on a project that is an erotic Jurassic Park movie. It's her take on the iconic franchise, but it's a domestic drama about a human marrying a velociraptor.
Girl, what the fuck?
I feel like she was just like, she was in the studio and she was like, "Oh, now that I have money from Saltburn and all the Gen Zers are going to see me, let's do something. Let me do a movie where a man marries a velociraptor and then it's an erotic thriller and it's,
Emerald
bro."
Fennel, don't write your own script challenge, go. Emerald Fennel, hire someone who can actually write a script, go.
Well, you watched Saltburn this week, so I guess we'll talk about it, but
Yeah.
I didn't watch the entirety of Promising Young Woman. I didn't like it.
Bad.
So,
Bad,
and
bad, bad.
she's like the whole talk around her has become annoying. I'm
Yeah.
sure she's a great gal. I'm really sure she's a great gal. It's
Yeah.
just like
Midge.
Midge.
She was Midge in Barbie.
Oh, was she? I
Yeah.
didn't know. Well, sure she's a great gal. I just don't fuck with her like media, whatever she's putting out and whatever like her interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, next piece of news, I'm gonna blaze through this one. So Variety has come out with a little list of 2023's worst movies, and on that list is something like Ghosted, not good. The
right,
Flash, not good.
awful.
Um, Also on that list, Asteroid City.
What? Why?
Um,
What
I
number?
I don't know why, and I don't know the number. It just gave a list.
Oh.
Um, I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but Variety, you'll be hearing from my lawyer because there's no way you put Asteroid City up there with Ghosted and The Flash.
Right, right. Off. That's a
Like
really bad pick.
there's a difference between a movie being objectively just bad and then you not liking a movie. But I'm sorry, objectively, Asteroid City is not a bad movie.
And a lot of people do hail it as a masterpiece, and no one hails Ghosted as a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So,
So let's calm down there, Variety.
um,
I think we need to get in the legal room. Get sorry.
just
Get in
just
the
because it
room.
went, just because it went, just because it went over your head doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just don't think the writers at the Variety fucked with it. So
Whatever, Variety, you're a
that's your
flop
fault.
anyways. But
Yep.
don't if you're gonna sue me, get in contact with my lawyer first.
We're like the weekend where it was like Rolling Stone in his show where he was like Rolling Stones, they're so whatever.
Poopy butt bad.
Yeah, poopy about that. On sad news though, Andre Braugher, who was the actor, he's getting so much talk around his passing. And it is so sad. He was mostly known for his work on the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but he also had a really expansive filmography. He died at age 61, which is very, very early,
So
from lung
sad.
cancer.
So sad.
It is very sad. I recommend you watch his TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Obviously, he's my favorite character in that show. But also his movies, you know, he was in The Mist, he was in Primal Fear, he was in She Said, City of Angels, like, there's a lot of his filmography to check out, and please do, because he was a cool actor, and a really
Yeah.
funny one as well.
Rip, man. What a shame. What a shame.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. On a honestly not too much better note, we got the Golden Globe nominations out. Um
No! They're good, they're good, they're
okay,
good
okay.
nominations.
I know, I just don't like the Golden Globes. I think they're very
Okay.
unserious. But yeah, Golden Globe noms, Charles Melton got nominated, Lily Gladstone, Kaylee, however the hell you say your last name.
Joel Osmond?
No! Not Haley Joel. Kaylee Spaney.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she got
something like that.
nominated.
Oh,
And then
yeah?
we got our usuals. We got our Leonardo DiCaprios and blah blah.
Right, but I'm really not upset with these lineups. I think everything was it kind of made me realize because I never realized how good of a year we've had. I
Yeah,
mean,
great year.
from motion picture, we
Oh,
got Oppenheimer
Oppenheimer. Duh, Killian Murphy.
and Killers of the Flower Moon. Melly, you'll watch it and you'll want all of the nominations. You'll want
No, I
it
know,
to
I
be
know.
nominated.
I
I
just,
know
I
you'll love
just,
it.
I just like Killian Murphy deserves that Golden Globe, deserves the
Yeah.
Oscar, deserves every award because Killian Murphy every single award season gets snubbed and snubbed and snubbed, and
Hmm.
for I close to probably 20 years at this point, this man has been getting snubbed of awards. This is only if you can't this is only his second Golden Globe nomination since like 2004?
And he's Killian Murphy.
Yeah.
So that's insane. Um,
So yeah. So I'm
he is going up against, you know, Leo and Bradley Cooper, but I really think it will be going to him.
Bradley
But you know,
Cooper.
our best picture nominations, we got Oppenheimer, Love for Killers, Maestro, Love for Past Lives, which is amazing. And then we got a nomination for The Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a
Yes.
Fall. I feel like
Yes.
those are really good move and they didn't just put them in picture, they put them all over the map. So it's like I'm happy about those nominations, you know?
Yeah, I have to watch. I
And
really want to see those two
a
movies.
Sandra Hüller nomination. We got some love for Poor Things. Like I'm not upset, you know?
I'm also not upset. The one thing that confused me though is that a lot of these movies are not released yet. So
Right.
it is a little weird that they're getting nominated with no releases, but
Yeah, we talked about it. It's weird.
whatever, I guess.
Um,
Any
yeah,
other
but we're
news you
not
have?
upset. I have one more news, which is just a little funny little anecdote that in response to criticisms of historical inaccuracies in his movie Napoleon, Sir Ridley Scott simply said, "Get a life." When further pressed by historians, he added, "When I have issues with historians, I ask, 'Excuse me, mate, were you there?' No, well, shut the fuck up then." Which is just so
Yes,
funny and
Ridley.
iconic. He ate. He really ate.
Ridley Scott is not a fucking real human. That's all I'm gonna say.
I remember watching his Letterboxd top four and it was so I remember being so whack. I just don't remember what it was.
I don't.
Or he
I'm.
was he also the one that said A23?
Yes.
That was like a
Yes.
it's so iconic.
That was him.
Um but yeah, speaking of Ridley Scott, what movies did he watch this week, Meli? That was a
Oh.
horrid segment.
Oh. So I'm just gonna quickly run through these so we have time to discuss our
Mhm.
movie. So first I watched I'll just briefly I wasn't gonna talk about Saltburn, but I'll talk about it. I watched Saltburn in theaters. If you want to read it, go check out my letterbox because I wrote like a long ass review on it with like all these different notes and points. But it was mid. Um Performances were great. Barry Keegan is awesome. Love him.
Keoghan?
Whatever. My Irish lad.
Did he
Um,
lick the bathtub?
he
I've
did
been
like the
hearing some stuff
bathtub.
about that.
He licked a bathtub.
What the fuck?
I
For
don't want
what?
to. I don't want to say the context.
Like, was it a sexual thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well.
No comment on that. But nevertheless, he was great in it. It was mid. Again, I don't feel like talking about this movie because the more I think about it, the more brain cells I lose because that's how dumb it was. So just go read my review.
All
Um,
right.
if the viewers out there want to know what I had to say. Anyways,
Right.
next I watched Being John Malkovich.
Which you didn't like as much as I thought you would.
I didn't like it as much as Yoav thought I would, and Yoav gave 5 stars, and I gave it, I think, like 3.5 or
Three
something.
and a half.
It
Yeah.
was, it's a good movie. I just, the themes and the execution were not my favorite.
Like, what did you dislike?
Like, okay, I like weird movies, and like,
Right.
I like,
We know.
I like watching like weird movies, but this was
Mhm.
like too weird for me. This was just too far. This was too far. Like, I don't fuck with
Okay.
puppets, okay?
Okay. Okay.
I don't fuck with that marionette shit.
Okay. So,
No, honestly
okay.
though, my I really talking about this movie would take a whole podcast episode.
Okay.
Like,
Then we'll talk later.
we'll talk on our own.
It
Sorry,
is it is a
guys.
great it is a great follow us on our exclusive Patreon.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
no, we don't have money.
I hate when people do that. Like fuck you. Like I want to see the
Pay an
episode. Like
extra $15 a month to come see us talk more about.
I know you want money, but like and then they drop the most insane like premise for their podcast episode on Patreon
Yeah,
where we fucking release our deepest darkest secret. Like bro.
dumb.
Um but yeah, what else did you
But yeah,
watch?
being John Malkovich, whatever. I honestly can't even talk about it because it's just when I think about it, my brain short circuits. Um,
Right.
and then I watched Led Zeppelin's concert movie. The
Oh yeah, I
song
saw you watch
remains the
it.
same. Yeah. I saw an edit. Okay, bear with me here, folks. I've been wanting to
Mhm.
watch this movie for a long time. I really like the band Led Zeppelin. I don't give a fuck if they're problematic. Sue me, kill me, shoot
They're
me.
problematic.
Yeah, they are. They're old as fuck. They're almost one of them is dead. The other three are on their deathbeds.
I love Zed Lepin.
You do, you know.
I do.
Anyways, I don't care, whatever. Their music's good, but I saw an edit on TikTok. Someone made an edit of the freaking concert movie, and I was like, oh, this is my sign to watch it because I've
I've
been
heard
wanting to
about that
watch it.
one. I've heard about it. Yeah.
It's so goofy
And
because like it's a concert film, obviously, and then but at the same
mhm.
time, it's like all four members have like these like weird like dreams like that go with one of the songs, and it's like kind of funky and weird, and but also like if you're like horny, I'm gonna be honest here, if you're horny and you like really just want to stare at hot people for 2 hours, go watch it because rock stars singing, moaning, shirts off,
I would say the same
the
for Gimme Shelter.
yes, but the song remains the same isn't fucking depressing
Right,
and
right, right. We'll talk about it.
yeah. But anyways, if you want to hear Robert Plant singing on stage with barely a shirt on in jeans that are too tight for him that show an outline of something that should not be outlined, go watch The Song Remains the Same.
Okay. Um,
What did you watch, Yoav?
I'll probably watch that because I really like concert films.
Yeah.
Well, I started last week. I was in a 2-night trip with my cinema department, and we went to the Arava Film Festival, which has become a big thing in the last few years. Especially in Israel and the Middle East in general. It's just a film festival in a big desert, and there's a big screen on the big desert, and you just sit in the middle of the desert and watch a movie. And they're all great. I watched 4 films. I won't really go into it that deep, but 20,000 Species of Bees was about a transgender girl, which was very, very like amazing movie. But my favorite has got to be La Chimera, starring Isabella Rossellini in it's
Oh.
not really starring her. She's in it though, which made me super happy. And it's just nothing you've seen before. Please keep it on your radar, Meli. Um, a German film called The Teacher's Lounge, which was okay, and then How to Have Sex, which came out of the Cannes Film Festival, and got a lot of traction at Cannes. It's okay. It's probably gonna come to Netflix or something. It's a very Netflixy movie,
Mhm.
so just keep an eye out for that. And I think that's
Okay.
gonna be late next year,
Okay.
so in a long time.
Nice.
Then I watched Repo Man, which was this sci-fi action movie from 1984, but it wasn't really sci-fi action because it was really surreal. And Harry Dean Stanton was in it, and it was very weird and fun. Um, then I rewatched Donkey Skin. I've talked about that movie way too much on this podcast. Then I did like a little Milos Forman kind of situation where I watched two of his movies from Czechoslovakia. One of them is called The Fireman's Ball, which I actually started watching it just because Emma Stone put it in her top 4 on Letterboxd.
Right.
And it was really good. It was really funny. Anyways, and then I watched this Iranian movie, which is the beginning of Mohsen. If you remember Mohsen Makhmalbaf from Abbas Kiarostami's Close Up,
Mhm.
he's the director that Hossein Subzian acts like. He
Right,
made this
right.
trilogy called the Poetic Trilogy, which I bought on Blu-ray recently. And the first movie in the trilogy is called Gabe, and it's like nothing you've seen before. I can't even describe how much of a calming and interesting experience it is. Just full of color and flowers and landscapes, but like it's perfect movie. And then I watched Taking Off, which is another Milos Forman film, which is just probably my favorite watch from the last few weeks. Just a comedic masterpiece, stoner comedy drama. Yeah. It's very 60s, 70s kind of vibes.
I put it on my
It's
watch list.
it's definitely I like that you said that. It's definitely fascinating, amazing. I don't know how to describe it. Then I started Eric Romer's Six Moral Tales with the first film. We've talked about Eric Romer, pretty good. And then got to see Stop Making Sense in theaters on the 4K
Nice.
restoration, and it was actually really sick. And I went with two friends, and it was very fun. And I love that movie, and I love David Byrne, and you should go see it if it's still in a theater near you, Meli.
Hell yeah, if I have time.
You'll find
My
time.
next movie I want to see in theaters is Poor Things.
Yeah,
I'm
same here,
gonna
same here.
my aunt and I are gonna try and go catch Poor Things next
Yeah,
week.
it's coming here in January, so
Nice. Okay.
there's time. But you see it
Oh, ow.
before me, and you let me know.
Yeah, I will let you know.
But should we get to our
Yeah, I think
should we get to our
yeah.
movie?
Oh wait, hold on. Let me just
To the film Gimme Shelter.
yeah. Well, we'll see you guys in our next segment then.
All right. Welcome back
Hey
to
guys. Hello
our discuss.
guys. It's Melina and
Hello,
Yoav here today, and we are
Mick
from
Jagger.
we're just two little blokes from London here for you. So
Hey, you in the back there.
this one in the back, this
Stop
one.
fighting.
Brothers, sisters, let's all calm down here. We
we
are
we could
all
do we could do one of our famous one-on-one ratio powered musical intros, but we'll keep it at the British.
We'll keep it nice and dandy and
I
chipper.
can't get no
No,
one
one
on
on
one.
run,
One on
run.
run. One on run.
I can't get no podcasting in because all Yoav and I do are blab and yap like two parrots.
Hey. Today we're gonna be discussing the 1970 film called Gimme Shelter, or alternatively The Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter. Directed by the Maisels brothers and Charlotte Zwerin. Um, just a little, yeah, and that's Meli's Criterion Blu-ray.
Again, once again.
Um, these directors all worked on the famous documentary Grey Gardens, and also the movie Salesman, which I've also been trying to get to. Both very famous documentaries.
Yep.
And they are great documentary filmmakers, and I know that just from this movie.
Yup. Okay, should we just cut to the chase and get into it because there is
Let's
so
just
much to
cut
be
to the
said.
chase. There is a lot to be said. Begin.
Well, I can say I did not start taking notes until this specific part of the movie, but I'm just gonna go get right to it. Okay. The first part that I said that I commented on was when they were all sitting in the recording studio, I think, and they were listening to Wild Horses.
That's like 40 minutes into the movie.
Okay, I know, but I was too
Okay.
like I was just like I was locked in.
Transfix.
I like complete I literally like halfway through the movie I'm like I should be taking notes on this right now.
Right.
Um so that was my first note about 40 minutes into the movie, but I just want to comment on that scene because it's so special to me and I thought it was so awesome how they were
Magical.
all just sitting there together and like listening to this song that they had like created and they were like getting so emotional and they were like really feeling the music and I was like, "Oh,
Mhm. It's a fantastic scene. It's fantastically directed and edited as well. And this whole thing of artists reacting to their own art is a big thing here. And reality and artifice, and I don't know how, if that was their first time listening to Wild Wild Horses, if there was a alternative take, is
I don't think it
if
was their
it's
first time."
I know, but if it was staged, it was whatever,
Oh,
you
oh,
know.
oh. I don't think it was.
You
I
don't
don't think it
know. Well,
was.
I don't think it was either, but they are in very specific like places sitting just so the camera has room to move between them. There's a level here of like, it's very resonant though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this whole thing of artists reacting to their own art and their own concerts and their own music is a big thing, and that's an amazing scene.
Yeah.
Um well, I wrote stupid notes then. I wrote the Rolling Stones with Uncle Sam hats walking on the border of a highway with a donkey is the new big thing.
Yeah.
Um, me and my dad, I watched it with my dad. We were so amazed with how young they are, because like I'm used to seeing pictures of them like old, you know?
Yeah, they're so young in this movie. Oh
So
my
Mick
god.
Jagger was like 26, 27. No?
Ah,
He was born in 43, I believe. So that he was 26.
let's do some.
Um, And then they get to the opening song of the film, which is Jumping Jack Flash, which is just an amazing song.
Yep.
I never realized how many Rolling Stone songs I knew and loved.
Dude, they have
Because like
so
there's so
many
much,
hits.
yeah. Um, the opening song, Jumping Jack Flash, is a great introduction to the Rolling Stones vibes. The energy is quite high. Mick Jagger is Mick Jaggering, and the audience reactions are pretty cool, but there are
Yeah.
cooler audience reactions in this film, and we'll get to it. You know, I didn't know where this was going at all, and this movie is very
Oh wow.
fluid in that the tone changes very drastically.
Oh yeah.
Um, and we go from this high energy concert to backstage when they're watching back the tapes that are going to be filmed later after the concert and listening to the radio. Um, and I like didn't really get a footing as to what they're reacting to and what's going on and what actually happened, but it was something really sad and devastating, and they were all so serious, and I was like, "What's going on? This isn't stop making sense, you know?"
Yeah.
um, and as we go from the reported atrocities back to Mick Jagger and Charlie Watts and Keith Richards like performing, it's like a little like it's like a weird thing because we're jumping from the future back to the past. How do you feel how do you did you
So,
understand that immediately or like
yes, I understood it because I knew what the movie like, I knew what I was getting into, I guess.
right?
Like, I knew going into it that what happened at the concert
Mhm,
and the impact it had globally. Um,
mhm,
but I thought it was very, I guess, real is the word. I'm not quite the word, but the word that's coming to my mind right now, because what was so cool about that was it didn't really show them like it it didn't make them out to be like gods, you know?
right.
Like the movie didn't portray them in a light where they're like, "Oh yeah, like these are these amazing, awesome performers who love their fans and care for their fans and are so supportive and so great." It's like, no, like it is showing that like they are humans and they are flawed, and even though like they are seen as these like untouchable gods, like no, at the end of the day they are human and
Yeah.
they do experience all these different emotions, and like
Yep.
watching them reflect back on their emotions is just
I didn't that's the thing, I didn't know what they were reflecting on, but I
okay.
realized it was something so I knew there was some sort of death in this movie, I didn't really understand what was going on, but, it was this era of real honesty, even though, I don't know if that's exactly the time when this radio broadcast and they happen to be filming them reacting to the film. This whole thing of, like, them reacting to the film or watching is super interesting,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that the behind the scenes in that room specifically is comes in the beginning and towards the end, of them reacting to the film we're watching in that radio broadcast, and it's, very sad, and so going back to the concert in Madison Square Garden, me and my dad started talking about how, like, we're thinking about how Mick Jagger was only 26 and he's performing to all these people in Madison Square Garden, and you can kind of see the pressure on his face, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Not as clearly as you can see it in the room where they're reacting to the atrocity in their own concert, but um on stage, I think there's something, it just changes the way I think about the first half of the movie, which is more
Mhm.
concert orient more of those concerts, Madison Square Garden, when they go to New York or whatever.
Well,
Um
what I think is always what's always like interested me about Mick Jagger is that like he truly has like a love for performing. Like
mhm,
even this whole incident, the I forgot where it was, the incident at Alamont Speedway, um, it didn't stop him from performing or stop his love of performing, like, and
mhm,
he's always been very vocal about in interviews how he will always see himself, even now, 80 years old, performing on stage, and, like, that is something that he will continue to love to do, and he still does it,
yeah.
so I think that's really cool.
It is really cool, and their outfits and their jewelry and everything is so funny and on point. Um, very very gay, but also
Yeah,
y
very
very very, gender, like,
well, the thing with Mick Jagger
promiscuous or
is that
whatever.
he's always been very
Fruity.
feminine.
Yeah,
Like
and
people, I mean,
fruity.
he's never really, yeah, he's never. like confirmed whether or not he is into men, but
Right, and it's totally I don't care. I'm
yeah.
just saying it's very gendered, like, promiscuous, and their outfits are really cool, and I do want, their jewelry.
Yeah.
I would grab that off their
Oh
hands.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
For sure.
yeah, and then I want about wild horses, but what's your next note?
Tina Turner has an orgasm on stage.
Uh, you're already so deep into the movie. Um,
Well,
okay, wait,
you can bring up the points from
okay,
earlier.
I have
I
one more
just
note
forgot to take
before
notes.
I have two more notes before Tina Turner.
Go ahead.
That slow motion shot of I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's a slow motion shot of the audience, and then it goes to slow motion Mick Jagger, and then they put Mick Jagger, they like overlap the clips. The editing there was absolutely insane. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Why am I not remembering this?
It's like a red shot, it's like red lighting, and they're slowly panning through the audience
Right.
and different audience members jumping and in slow motion and the camera and the one taking pictures, and then we go to Mick Jagger and then you see Mick Jagger and then they overlap Mick Jagger over Mick Jagger, and it's so trippy and interesting.
Mm. Okay,
Um
okay.
I think you were so into the movie that the editing was absolutely insane there, and really give this one of those shots that really gave this aura of like kind of depressing and like
Mhm.
slow for some reason. It's like something's up, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um and then back to interspersed cut scenes of the Stones reacting to the Stones and reality and artifice and pre and post tragedy. Very interesting. And then we're like in the middle of the film, and then we get they're performing in this festival of sorts, and Tina Turner is there. What did you
That
think of
scene
that
was
performance?
crazy, bro. I was
I
like, wow.
I've actually seen that clip before on Instagram.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
didn't know if it was I didn't even think it would be from this movie because like how is
I
that
don't
connected?
I don't know if it's
But
I think that clip is just it's in this movie, but it's also been released other places.
maybe. Um, Tina Turner and Ike Turner, amazing, iconic, and performing Otis Redding's "I've Been Loving You Too Long." Wow. I mean, Tina's just amazing,
Tina
and
is just
the band was brewing, the band was cooking,
oh
everyone
yeah.
was cooking, and that performance is so orgasmic and
I mean,
like,
literally.
I mean, literally, yeah.
Literally.
um and really fitting to the song, which is actually one of my favorite songs of all time. Fun fact about that song is our fave David Lynch, that's his
Mhm.
favorite song of all time, and it's
Really?
because it's the only song that ever made him cry. um
Wow.
and it's because in the filming of Twin Peaks, there's a scene, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a
Mhm.
scene with "I've Been Loving You Too Long,"
Okay.
and he cried on set, and I think there's a filming of it as well, and it's a very, very, um, beautiful scene, and
Mhm.
that's, like, where I got introduced to the song, and it's an amazing song,
Okay,
and
right.
Tina Turner's great,
Yeah, her is
so,
awesome.
yeah. But then we get to the stuff leading up to the Alamont Free concert, all that stuff with their producer. What were your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
I thought it was so interesting that whole argument that they were having where he was like the guy who owns the speedway was like he was like, "Well, he's like I don't know if I want that because that's like
Right.
a lot of damage that he's like gonna have to
Insane.
take on." And then the guy was like and then he was like, "Oh, do you are you like working for Rolling Stones or whatever?" And the like, lawyer guy was like, "No, but I know them." But no, I don't work for them. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you doing, you sneaky little bastard?
Um, I love those scenes, and his office is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it seems like historical office.
Mhm.
Um, it's great. I like those scenes building. There was this kind of I'll touch on it later, but there's kind of this building of tension coming up to the Altamont Free concert, um, that
Right.
starts around halfway through the movie, and it feels a lot like a narrative film in that, this tension build up and we're seeing the stuff leading up to this with their producer, and the people that are setting up the concert, and it's very interesting. Um, and they're getting security and everything, and it's like the way they frame this is so interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, and then you get this sprawling shot of the cars and the people leading up to the concert, and that's when the ultimate concert sequence really
Yeah.
starts, and it's a really long sequence, and we have to talk about it.
You
But that
start.
helicopter shot, what did you think of that? Because I
Hmm.
was floored by the amount of people.
I think it's crazy that they were even able to pull this off. 300,000 people? 300,000, and it was all free, bro.
That shit would never happen nowadays, but I think partially because of this concert.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
But,
100%. Oh,
there's
yeah.
there's a lot of meaning to this, and obviously they had some sort of security with the Hells Angels, but the story is that they paid the Hells Angels to do security for this with $500 of beer worth of beer, which is so which
Like,
is
what
like
kind
that's
of world, man? Like, what
yeah,
the
the
way they
60s,
were living
man.
back then.
Is crazy. Then I mean, I just stopped writing notes kind of. I'm kind of the opposite of you because when this started kicking in, I was just like, I need to see where this is going. Like I was very invested.
I
And
No, keep going.
I wrote a lot of stuff after, but not a lot of notes. And it's oh it's a very arresting sequence. It's kind of like a horror movie.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot like a horror movie. Um, what were your feelings like with what's going on?
Well, I was feeling a lot of different things. One of my first things that I felt was just how, and this goes for even in the beginning of the movie with the Madison Square Garden concert, but
Mhm.
they're truly so, especially like Mick Jagger. I mean, everyone knows this. There's reasons why there are songs named after him, and um like they're just so like enigmatic and like alluring on stage,
Right.
and like you can tell that like us as viewers are just drawn to them like magnets, but also just the concert goers. Like, it's crazy how strong of a hold that this one man has on 300,000 people and
Mhm.
everyone else watching the movie at home. Like, that it's just crazy to me. And the fact that he was like able to just get away with this is insane. And again, it's because of the grasp he has on people, but like it's crazy. Like he had
Mick
a lot of
Jagger's
power.
interesting. He does have a lot of power. He's kind of like
Mhm.
it's one of those celebrities that everyone's drawn to, like you said. I mean, his energy is feels so free and so um like, I don't know, just out there,
Yeah. No,
just
I
like
totally.
confident, like the confidence is so something to aspire to. Um, and just the coolness and how he's always drunk, but like has control. He's very free, It's very, very great.
Yeah.
my next thing was help. Why are there so many naked people?
Oh my god, there were so many naked people.
So much nudity in this movie. Um, I mean, that's how it was, but I think we got a solid like 20-30 minutes of just seeing this audience and like building up to the violence. And before, Jefferson Airplane comes on during the pre-show and stuff, people climbing on the rails, people are already like all over. There's this woman handing out flyers to wipe out the Black Panther Party. What?
No, no, was it to wipe it out?
Yeah.
I
She
thought it
wasn't
was
joking when she was like, after all, they're just N-words. She was like, help us wipe them out, murder them, and through violent
no,
means if we need
no, I
to.
don't think so.
That's how me and my dad.
I thought she was saying because she said contribution to the Black Panther Defend Fund.
Yeah, Defense Against.
No. What?
Oh, we'll have to rewatch it, but
Yeah, because I totally thought that she was like saying the opposite of what you're saying, that like they're trying to do a good thing and that they're getting killed and that they're getting imprisoned. And then she said, after all, they're just like she used the like basically the Spanish word
mhm.
to describe, black people. I thought,
Okay, I read that so differently.
okay, well, now we're both gonna have to go back and rewatch that scene because
Yeah,
I totally thought that she was like trying to campaign and raise money for them, but like in a really weird way. Like it
I don't
didn't
know.
feel good. Like regardless if it
Yeah.
was good or bad intentions, like it just did not feel good. Like bad way of campaigning.
So this is really a disaster, this whole concert. I mean, so many naked people, so many people are doped, stoned,
Oh,
drunk,
so
unsafe, and not a sane situation to be with. And violence does arise, and it's really bad when it does. I mean, this scramble to gain control over an audience of 300,000 people is impossible.
yeah.
Impossible, especially those people in the front rows who are just out of control. And it kind of felt like school children and the teacher being like, everyone sit down, like they're little kids that have to be dealt with. And it's just I'll get to the I think there's a lot of meaning and a lot of nuance to what's going on.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
um what were your thought like what were your notes when it came to this like crazy sequence?
Well, first of all, just the fact that they even hired the Hells Angels and that Hells Angels were there
That's
is
crazy.
crazy.
They paid them in $500 worth of beer, so it kind of makes sense that they
Yeah.
were insane, but like,
Batshit bonkers that you would because
yeah,
back in the day now the Hells Angels, I believe they still exist, but they're not to the magnitude,
I
not
don't
nowhere
think they're a violent gang
no,
anymore.
no, no, no. I
They're
think
old people.
at this point, I think they're just like they're literally just bikers and they barely do anything. But
Right.
back in the day, there was the Hells Angels were a dangerous gang, like motorcycle gang in San
Yeah.
Francisco. Like you would not fuck around with them. Um,
No.
so I don't. That's already a huge red flag and a huge problem that they even considered hiring them, and then went through with it, but very bad because
Yeah.
you're clashing two very different groups of people, a motorcycle gang and then a bunch
And
of
hippies.
hippies.
Yeah.
Um, two groups, two parties that stand for very different things.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're gonna clash a little.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously both parties are in the wrong
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when it comes to Hell's Angels and the organizers, all three part the organizers of Hell's Angels and the concert, just wasn't a good idea. But
Yeah.
they did. I don't think they fully understood the violence that could
No,
arise from
they
this.
definitely didn't.
Um, I love me some Jefferson Airplane. Grace Lee is always amazing. I really F with their music. There was a really cool shot of a bubble floating in the air, which felt very sweet, as opposed to what's going on. Um, and the concert sequence is just such a feat. because it's so long, the editing is so interesting, the shots they choose to use, and I just feel like I'm there and I'm actually experiencing this violence firsthand. And it's actually such a long and amazingly done sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, something straight out of a narrative film, like really so impressive. So it just it's just so it's so real as
Mhm.
well. Like this shit can't be recreated
No
into a narrative
way.
film because it was so real, and the amount of people there is insane. Like you there are hills of people in the back that you just can't see because the
Yeah.
camera doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
It's insane. Um
Like, and then a lot of those people in the back too probably can't even see. They're just
yeah,
listening. Like,
yeah.
they
Which
probably
sucks.
in the back, they don't even
They're
know
just
what's
there.
going on. Like,
Yeah. Um
crazy.
and it is crazy. I wouldn't wanna be in the front though, and I wouldn't wanna be right next to those loudspeakers that are playing for 300,000 people. Those are
Yeah.
probably so loud, being next to those speakers would probably kill my ears.
Mhm.
Um, and overall not a fun experience for the people in the front rows or the back rows.
No way, brother. No way.
And people start crying, and a girl is crying when they start playing "Sympathy for the Devil." It's still bopping her head along, and just the craziest shots and the weirdest people.
I do want to I have a comment about that.
Mhm,
When the violence breaks out. So I kind of wrote about this. Okay. Basically, we as the audience, but also again, them as the audience being there,
mhm,
kind of realize, especially them who's there IRL watching this, they start to realize that their favorite artist, these people, this group that they idolize and they listen to and they love so much, maybe don't necessarily really care for them as much as they thought that they would. And
mhm.
my one point is that guy that was you could literally he was standing right there. You could literally see him like mouthing to Mick Jagger, telling him to like stop, telling him to stop performing, to stop singing. Um, because as this shit is unfolding, they're still performing, he's singing, they're playing guitar, the drums and everything, and that
Mhm.
guy is standing there and he's like begging and pleading for him to stop performing. And I
Yeah.
was like, that was like it hit. And then that's where I brought in the girl that like was crying because again, it's like she's probably crying because she's able to see one of her favorite artists and hear her favorite songs being played.
Mhm,
But then at the same time, it's like they aren't truly doing justice to the situation. And
mm.
like, but then at the same time, I highly doubt Mick Jagger can hear everything that's going on or really hear the
Right, but he
turmoil in the
can
crowd.
see because he is looking in the first row, and that's where
And
most thing occurred.
that's the other thing. If this was happening in modern day today, I would say, okay, it's a little different because nowadays concerts, outdoor, indoor, the lights are so bright. A lot of
Mhm.
the time performers can't see into the audience.
Yeah, but there's also less for artists of this scale, there's no stages like that anymore. There's no way for the audience to get up there. Like,
Oh, no, no, no.
if we're talking about modern day, like, famous bands, like, I can't think of
I'm
any
just thinking of like
famous
I'm
bands.
thinking of when I went to a music festival,
Mhm,
um a very big music festival, and how one of the performers was on stage and someone passed out and people were like, "Stop performing, this person passed out, whatever, they need water," whatever. And then the person who was on stage performing was like, "Is something going on?" And then they were like, "Yeah, like someone passed out." And then he was like, "I'm so sorry, guys." He was like, I can't see shit from up here." He was like, "The lights
right,
are so bright that like I
right.
literally cannot see what is going on. So I'm so sorry if I like miss anything or if I can't see anybody." Um, but so I was like, "Okay, that makes sense." But this there's no excuse for this.
No, they should stop the concert.
Yeah.
Speaking of current days, though, there has been a trend of people abusing artists,
Oh, yeah.
of
Oh,
people
yeah.
throwing shit at stages. Like that's been a thing in the last few months.
Yeah.
I was even at a hip hop concert at a small thing, which I remember where three individual time it was a stage like this one because it was a smaller artist and it was like a bunch of young people. Um and three separate times shit was thrown at the artist. They threw water bottles, they threw stuff. And then at the end of the concert, he did this thing where he jumped on the audience, which is already something that like, a lot of artists do, but like it's still dangerous,
Yeah.
especially with young people.
Yeah.
And then he like kind of felt like they didn't really support him well and he kind of slipped kind of down and then people started like there were people that like were like punching him and shit and it was so embarrassing and horrible and I was like that's like he like almost stopped the concert but he didn't because it was his last song anyways but he was like yeah don't fucking punch me and shit like
Wow.
he had like a bruise on his he was shirtless had a bruise on his like bruh like why are you punching me and it's just this thing of like I don't know violence in concerts I feel like is returning in like a weird way.
Concerts have become such an interesting thing in the modern world, modern day,
Mhm,
because in a way, concerts have become so unattainable and so hard to access, and
mhm.
it's become so expensive. And I'm not talking about super small artists because I go and see small artists as much as I can.
Yeah.
I the last concert I went to was like, I mean, they're not. I went and saw a band called Kasabian. I don't know if anyone knows who they are, but they're not like small, but they're not huge. And the venue was like was like, I guess, considered a small venue, but that was a lot of fun because the people were awesome and it was cheap and it was so much
Yeah.
fun. But then you have, your Taylor Swift concerts, your Beyonce concerts where getting a ticket in the nosebleed itself is freaking $300. And it's like being able to hear the music you love and see these artists that you look up to has become so expensive these days that
Yeah.
it's like, what's even the point anymore?
They definitely wouldn't have done a free concert kind of situation. Um, and all these, the Rolling Stones are as famous as Beyonce and Taylor
Oh yeah.
now. Um, would they were as famous. They were at that level of famous. And, I bet their concerts were cheaper and it was just a matter of buying tickets physically as well was a different situation. Because
You
if you
can't
lived in the area, you know,
Sorry, you can't compare, and I hate when people nowadays will go ahead and compare. They mostly will compare Taylor Swift, but when I see people tweeting all the time like, um, Michael Jackson, the Beatles have nothing on Taylor Swift. You
girl.
can't compare a band that was at their peak in the 60s and 70s to Michael fucking Jackson to
It's like a
Taylor
whole different
Swift.
situation. Yeah.
Not
I
only
mean,
are they in 3 completely different genres, 3 completely different time periods, but you cannot compare the age of Ticketmaster.
to the age of Altamont Free concert. Um, and also, I have my own private feelings about Taylor Swift, but
Oh, yeah, it's
um,
okay. I think we
I just don't think they're good. We share opinions.
yeah.
But this thing was very prevalent in the '60s, and a big part of this movie is and I saw a bunch of reviews on Letterboxd saying this as well, is that in a lot of people's opinions, and I share this, um, Altamont Free Concert, the '60s died at Altamont Free Concert.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes,
and I
yes.
saw this all over Letterboxd, and it's because not only was it literally like the end of '69, like going into the '70s,
Yeah.
um, but the feeling of the '60s and the hippie culture and everything surrounding that and the freedom of it was pretty much demolished.
Yeah.
Should we stop?
Yeah, let's stop.
Was
Yeah,
pretty much
no.
demolished. Yeah. And it kind of shows that, this whole hippie culture, it was nice when it lasted, but it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't. I mean, I'm someone that fantasizes about being in the 60s and in San Francisco at the time because it was the best, like, especially in film and in musicals and
Mm-hmm.
whatever, in all forms of art, it's represented as this beautiful thing, and it really was, and there was something beautiful about the hippie movement. And it really is great. But everything in moderation. You
Yeah.
had a decade of that, of people running away from their homes and the Vietnam War and all of that, and it's just not it's not sustainable.
No, it's not.
Um, and I feel like the Altamont Free concert is really a microcosm of the death of that culture, and moving into the 70s, how people started understanding it's time to go back home. It's time to, actually create a society, because everything has to be moderated, and you can't have this full 100% freeness in the San Francisco area. You
Yeah.
can't. And you can't have a free concert with 300,000 people and hippies that don't
They don't
lead normal lives, and
yeah, they
very
don't like to
strange
follow
people.
rules.
Yeah. And
And
it's just not sustainable.
no, it's not. And I get it with the times and the war, like you were saying, people felt the need to want to rebel and
Mhm.
fight back and like start a revolution because like that's what they felt deep down was right because
And
justice wasn't being
it was
served.
right. Yeah.
But again, you can't do that in a setting like this. And when you have these extremists like hippies, like who are so who feel so repressed by society, I guess,
Mhm.
clashing with the Hells Angels, who also feel in their own way repressed by society.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but in very different ways. You have them
I
clashing in
associate with them much less, though. I
the
respect them much less, the
oh,
Hells
oh
Angels.
yeah, yeah, me too, for sure.
That's a different type of counterculture
Yeah,
thing that I don't fuck with that
yeah.
much.
They definitely perpetuate lots of violence.
Mhm.
Um and yeah, I'm not really for that.
No.
Not for that. But
But,
also I'm not
um,
100% for everything the hippies stand for and all their actions.
obviously, I mean, I think as much as
Wait,
hippies stood for peace,
let me take a picture of us.
as much as hippies stood for peace, violence does occur here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, it's also sorry, the analogy where it's like the circle, right? And then it's like, well, in this analogy, we'll use peace and
mhm,
violence. You have a circle.
mhm.
You have peace. You have violence.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah, and
start
then
you
yeah,
start going so far, so far, so far that you
yeah.
go into violence, and so far, so it's like a circle, and
That's how it works with every belief in everything, pretty
literally
much in
love and
life.
hate, left wing, right wing, whatever else you want
Yeah.
to bring up.
If you're extreme in anything, it's going to go in the other direction, especially when you're clashing with someone who's moving on the opposite end of that circle, also, you
Yep.
know. So you will end up both in a very extreme situation and with the death of a movement
Yeah.
on your hands. And this is really what this film represents, at least to me. And then, after the concert, there's this shot of them climbing back up the hill, and it kind of looked like zombies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like I don't know if that dejection is that the right word,
I don't really
but
know what dejection means.
like I don't know, but it just felt like what's the fucking I don't know how to express what I want to say.
It felt sad.
And yes, it felt sad, but it felt like everyone there had realized the consequences of their action, and
Mhm.
so they realized like that's it, we have to move on.
Yeah.
Like,
And, you know,
it's
the sun is rising, so it feels so cinematic and like a new
yeah.
beginning for these people. Um, and, you know, the shadow of the Vietnam War is on the whole thing, and that shot is very it's very death vibes.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
and so a lot of this death and rebirth with the rising sun, um, yeah. And I think this movie is such a perfect encapsulation of that time
Yeah.
and that specific phase, and this microcosm of that phase, which was the Altamont Free concert. And
Yeah.
yeah, do you wanna get into do you have any other notes?
No, you literally like stole the words right out of my mouth, but oh, actually I do have one
My
more word. I have
bad.
one
Go
more.
ahead.
I want to repeat this for the a millionth time,
Hmm.
but Give Me Shelter is my favorite Rolling Stone
It's a
song of
great
all
song.
time.
Yeah.
I will never ever get over that song. It is so good. Every time I play it, I can't listen to that song without screaming the lyrics and like wanting to pour my whole heart and soul into it because it's just so good. I love it. Thank you, Rolling
Do you
Stones, for making that song.
do you feel any connection between the lyrics of the songs and the film?
Oh,
Like,
for
I feel
sure.
like it's a purposeful name. They named it "Gimme Shelter"
Oh,
for a
for sure.
reason.
Even though it's funny though, because yeah, the song came out much before the film, long
Yeah.
before the film did, but they definitely named it Gimme Shelter on purpose because the whole song is about like not obviously not just finding a place and
Rape,
of
murder.
yeah, it's also about war and violence and
Mhm.
the gruesome reality of our world. And so I think
Yeah.
that's basically the whole song just encapsulates the movie.
Yeah. Um, I wrote a little no, like a
Fuck!
little
I keep forgetting to write the fucking blurbs.
I wrote a little blurb. It's okay, I did
Okay.
it for both of us. Um, and then we'll get into ratings.
Okay.
A horror movie in its own right, Gimme Shelter is a microcosmic yet grand portrayal of the 60s final breaths. Starting off with electric performances juxtaposed by a fascinating feeling of grief and self-reflection and artifice, and then going to the middle part of the film, building up anticipation and tension for the final concert, felt like something straight out of a narrative film. The harrowing final sequence at the Altamont Free concert is expertly filmed and honestly edited perfectly. Um, the film really does present the truth about the 60s and the hippies culture, and that it was great while it lasted, but definitely not sustainable. And people will always push things to the edge. um, I felt this movie was kind of torn between portraying the Rolling Stones and dissecting itself and the culture surrounding it, which is why I believe it could have benefited from a longer runtime. That's just
Okay.
me. That said, maybe on a rewatch, when I already know what I'm getting into, I'll resonate with the film's like succinctness more. But overall, just a brutal, fascinating, and seemingly very truthful documentary. Loved seeing Mick Jagger and the rest of the band reacting to their own music, and obviously loved seeing Tina Turner's orgasmic performance of "I've Been Loving You Too Long." Probably going to check out more of these documentarian works, because it
Snaps to
truly was something
Yoav.
special.
Sorry, that I cut you off at the end. That was give it to Yoav to be able to do that, man.
Give me Yoav.
Give me Yoav. Give me Yoav.
Shall we get to ratings and next week's pick?
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go,
Alright, so I am
sir.
going to wait, do you want me to rate it first? I'm assuming yes.
Yeah, you go first.
I think this was an easy 5 star for me.
Ah,
Um, I can't
amazing.
I can't really like give this anything less than a 5 star because to me, I like to rate kind of concert movies like this
Right.
differently than I rate my regular movies because obviously like there is a
It's a
story.
different kind of thing.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
There is a storyline, but not the way that movies have storylines.
Mhm.
So it's different, but for me, like the reason why it's 5 stars, obviously, like it has the impact, it has the story, it has the images, Rolling Stones, great music.
Right.
The message is so powerful, like just all in all, it's fantastic.
It's amazing. I'm gonna be at a 4.5, teetering on 5. It's a different rating system.
Yeah.
For me, at least. It's kinda like when if I'm rating a short film, I'm not gonna rate it in the s like, I'm gonna rate as a short film, how did
Yeah,
this
yeah,
work?
yeah.
Or as a comedy, how did this comedy work? As a doc
Yeah.
I think this is so close to perfect. I just wish it was longer, which is such a compliment to the movie because it's
Yeah.
like, I wanna see more. Maybe if I watch it with the Criterion supplements, I might cop that Blu-ray as well. Um, so should we get to next week's pick?
Let's get to next week's pick. I'm so excited.
Alrighty.
Let's take these bad boys down.
Check these bad boys down.
Oh, and look at that.
Aw, shucks. Look at that. Well, next week's pick is very interesting.
Ooh, I'm so
Um,
scared.
because I've been it's a very new film. It's from 2023.
Oh.
And we both haven't seen it. Um,
Mhm.
it is a European film that I've been hearing a lot about since the beginning of the year, since Cannes. I
Oh,
think it premiered in Cannes.
okay.
Um,
I'm
and
thinking.
don't get yeah. It's a shorter film. It's 92 minutes long. It's directed by director Ira Sachs. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And the film is called Passages. Have you heard of Passages?
Yes, I've been wanting
Okay.
to watch this fucking movie.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
I
this
was
is
worried. I was
all.
worried you hadn't heard about it. And then um
Oh, this is
this did get
great.
a weird like NC-17 like rating debacle. It was kind of crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently it's not that bad.
Oh
I
my.
looked at the IMDb parents guys, there's probably just a lot of sex in it. Um so
Oh.
there's a lot of buzz around this movie. I just saw the poster and I was like, we gotta watch this. Look at this banger poster. Let me read there's no tagline, but there's a plot kind of thing. Um, in contemporary Paris, German filmmaker Thomas embraces his sexuality through a torrid love affair with a young woman named Agathe, an impulse that blurs the lines that defines his relationship with his husband, Martin. When Martin begins to have an extramarital affair of his own, he successfully gains back his husband's attention while simultaneously unearthing Thomas's jealousy. Grappling with contradicting emotions, Thomas must either embrace the confines of his marriage or come to terms with the relationship having run its course. This is a love triangle film, which I love seeing. Um, and it's kind of about sexuality and questioning your sexual reality, from what I understand. And I'm very excited to see it.
Thank you.
No
Because I've
problem.
been wanting to watch this movie for so long. Well,
Yep.
since it came
Me
out,
too,
because I've
me
been
too.
seeing posters of it. And my aunt went out and saw it and was like, "You have to go see this movie."
Oh, she's seen it?
Yeah,
Your aunt's so cool. Is that your aunt with Letterboxd?
yeah.
She
Even
does
though
have a
she's not
funny
using it right
letterbox.
now, but I have to get her back on that shit.
Yeah, but that's Passages, and I really hope we like this. It's kind of divisive for a lot of people, so
I was gonna
let's see.
say. There are some people that really don't like this
I'm
movie.
seeing 1-star reviews, 3 stars reviews, and 5-star reviews here on my Letterboxd friends. So we will see.
Yeah, we'll see, guys.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah. Um, by the time you watch this, I'm gonna try and have it up tomorrow, which means it's gonna be Saturday. So I should have it up tomorrow, guys. I promise.
Sick. Um,
Yeah.
thanks so much for watching. Watch Gimme Shelter, please. And if not, we will.
I can make a lot of threats right now, but I'm not because it's inappropriate in context of the movie.
Yeah. And watch passages, form your own opinion. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.